Every morning, before the world gets loud, before distractions knock on your door, before the enemy of procrastination whispers in your ear, you must take command of your mind. The greatest battles are not fought on the outside. They're fought in silence, in solitude, in the stillness of the morning, when you have a chance to either program your purpose or permit your problems. And how do you program your purpose? With questions. Not average questions, not shallow, surface level, feel-good affirmations. I'm talking about questions that ignite your spirit, provoke your soul, and pull greatness out of hiding. Because the truth is this: you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the strength of your routines. And your routine must start with reflection every single day. So I want to give you 7 questions to ask yourself every morning. Not someday, not when you feel like it, not when your bank account's full or your calendar's clear. Every morning. Because the quality of your questions will determine the quality of your life. Question 1, what am I grateful for right now? Gratitude is the gateway to abundance. If you can't be thankful for what you have, you'll never be trusted with more. You want overflow, but you're cursing what's already in your cup. That's not alignment. That's entitlement. Start your day acknowledging the favor you're standing in, because favor ignored becomes favor lost. Question 2, who do I need to become to walk in my purpose today? Too many people ask what they need to do, but purpose is not about doing, it's about becoming. If you want to shift your destiny, shift your identity. Winners don't act like winners, they are winners. Stop acting and start becoming. Because when identity locks in, behavior follows. Question 3, what am I tolerating that I should be terminating? Every day you allow the wrong thing to stay, you delay the right thing from coming. Some of you are loyal to limitations. You're negotiating with mediocrity like it belongs in your life. But every great leap begins with a clean cut. You can't elevate while entertaining dead weight. What needs to go? A habit, a mindset, a relationship? Be honest. Your destiny depends on it. Question 4, what decision have I been delaying that I must make today? Delayed decisions drain destiny. You already know what to do. You've prayed about it. You've journaled about it. You've had 19 confirmation signs and a dream, and still you're waiting for perfect conditions. Listen, clarity comes after commitment, not before it. Stop waiting. Decide and move. Question 5, how will I serve someone today without expecting anything in return? Contribution is the currency of greatness. The most powerful people in the world are the most generous, not because they have so much, but because they've learned that giving multiplies what you already have. You want influence? Start with impact. Serve without strategy, love without leverage, give without grip. Question 6, where is fear trying to lead me, and how will I choose faith instead? Fear is not just a feeling, it's a false leader. It gives you commands you were never designed to obey. And every time you surrender to fear, you shrink the space faith was meant to fill. This is the morning you look fear in the eye and say, you will not lead me, you will not label me, you will not limit me. I walk by faith, not by sight. And finally, question 7, if today was the only day I had left, how would I live it? You don't have time to waste. You don't have energy to spend on things that don't matter. Legacy is not built someday, it's built daily. Today is your opportunity to multiply the seeds you've been given, to speak life, to build purpose, to love boldly, to forgive freely, to move like eternity is real, because it is. Ask these questions every morning and ask them with intention. Don't recite them, wrestle with them. Let them confront your comfort. Let them challenge your complacency. Let them stretch your standard, because every time you ask the right question, you unlock a new level of power. You need more motivation. You need more discipline. Discipline to ask. Discipline to answer honestly, and discipline to act. Your destiny is not waiting for a miracle. It's waiting for a moment of alignment. That moment is now. Ask the questions, live the answers, and watch your life change. So many questions create momentum because they force your mind into motion before the world has a chance to dictate your direction. Most people wake up reacting. They grab their phone, scroll social media, check emails, and immediately fall under the agenda of everyone else. They become thermostats, adjusting to the temperature of their circumstances rather than thermostats that set the tone. But when you start your day by asking powerful, intentional questions, you stop reacting and start directing. The human brain is a problem-solving machine, and when you give it a question, it immediately begins to search for an answer. So if the first question you ask in the morning is, why am I so tired, or why is my life so hard? Guess what? Your mind will give you all the evidence to support that belief. It's not because life is hard, it's because you asked a weak question. You framed your day with defeat. But if you flip the script and ask, what am I excited about today? What can I be grateful for right now? What opportunity is hidden in today's challenges? You change your energy. You activate possibility. You shift your focus from problems to purpose. Momentum isn't magic, it's created. It's built decision by decision, moment by moment, and it begins with the questions you ask before you even get out of bed. Most people wait for motivation to find them. They wait for circumstances to shift before they shift. But the high performers, the world changers, the legacy builders, they don't wait for momentum, they generate it. And that generation begins in the morning when nobody's watching, when your mind is still fresh and your heart is still open. Asking the right questions in the morning is like setting a spiritual compass. It aligns your internal world before your external world has the chance to distract or discourage you. It's not just about productivity, it's about positioning your soul for greatness. Because once you're mentally aligned, you can move faster with more clarity, more certainty, and more courage. You can't control everything that happens today, but you can control how you started. And how you started determines how you finish. Ask boldly, answer truthfully, move intentionally, because that first question may just be the spark that ignites your breakthrough. Self-leadership begins with self-questioning, because you can't lead others or even lead your life effectively if you haven't first learned to lead your own mind. Leadership isn't about controlling people, it's about mastering decisions, and decisions start in your thoughts. The most powerful people in the world are not those with the most followers, they're the ones who ask the most honest questions of themselves when no one's watching. Before you can command excellence, you have to confront excuses. Before you can raise your standards, you have to recognize your patterns. That takes a level of self-awareness that only comes through intentional questioning. It's easy to look out at the world and ask, why isn't this working? Or why won't people support me? But the better question is, where am I misaligned? What part of me is not showing up fully? What part of me is settling when I should be stretching? Self-questioning is not self-doubt, it's the opposite. It's confidence with humility. It's understanding that power without reflection becomes pride. And pride is always the beginning of a fall. Real leaders wake up and ask, what am I not seeing? They don't wait for feedback to be forced upon them. They seek it from within, because the more you understand yourself, the more powerfully you can show up for everything and everyone around you. When you start asking better questions, you stop living below your potential. You stop tolerating average. You stop making emotional decisions and start making strategic ones. That's self-leadership. It's the discipline to check your motives, examine your habits, and align your actions with your purpose, even when no one else is around to hold you accountable. Most people want breakthrough without self-evaluation. They want promotion without introspection. But that's not how growth works. Elevation requires examination. You've got to ask, am I honoring my calling today? Am I running from discomfort or leaning into it? Am I being led by purpose, or am I reacting out of fear? These questions don't make you weak, they make you wise. They create a foundation for strength that isn't shaken by opinions or outcomes. Because when you know who you are, when you've questioned yourself deeply and answered truthfully, you walk into the world unshakable. You're no longer controlled by circumstances because you're governed by conviction. And that's the essence of leadership. Not the ability to command others, but the daily decision to lead yourself. Questions shape identity, not just behavior, because what you repeatedly ask yourself determines who you believe you are, and who you believe you are drives everything you do. Behavior is surface level, it's what people see, but identity is the root system underneath. If you focus on changing what you do without addressing who you are, your progress will always be temporary. It will crack under pressure. It will collapse when life hits. But when your identity shifts, your actions follow naturally and consistently. Most people try to modify habits without transforming the mindset that created them. They say, I need to be more disciplined, or I have to stop procrastinating. But the better question is, what kind of person am I becoming that either invites discipline or resists it? That question doesn't just look at the result, it looks at the root. It forces you to confront the version of yourself you're living from, not just the one you're performing for. When you wake up every morning and ask identity-based questions, questions like, who am I choosing to be today? Or what standard does my future self demand of me right now? You begin to program your subconscious for transformation. You're no longer trying to force change. You're aligning with it. You're no longer chasing behavior. You're becoming the kind of person for whom that behavior is normal. If you see yourself as someone who always quits, you'll find a way to justify quitting even on your best day. If you see yourself as someone who finishes, someone who shows up, someone who honors their word, that even when it's hard, even when the pressure's high, your actions will align with your identity. That's the power of internal alignment. That's the power of asking the right questions. The wrong question focuses on performance. How can I get this done faster? The right question focuses on identity. How can I become the kind of person who gets this done with excellence, regardless of how I feel? One creates hustle, the other creates honor. One is driven by ego, the other is led by purpose. You don't rise to the level of your motivation, you rise or fall to the level of your identity. And your identity is shaped by the questions you repeat, the answers you accept, and the truth you decide to live by. So don't just ask questions that change what you do, ask questions that reshape who you are. Because once your identity catches up with your vision, the world has no choice but to catch up with your results. The power of purpose-driven questions is that they don't just move you, they align you. They cut through noise, distraction, and busyness, and they bring you face to face with the why behind everything you're doing. Without purpose, questions become shallow. They revolve around convenience, comfort, and control. But when purpose steps into the conversation, everything shifts. You stop asking what's easiest and start asking what's meaningful. You start saying, how can I get more? And start saying, how can I become more? Purpose-driven questions are the difference between activity and assignment. A lot of people are busy, but few are building. A lot are moving, but few are moving in the right direction. Purpose is the compass. And when your questions are filtered through it, your direction becomes clear. You start recognizing what deserves your energy and what doesn't. You begin to value clarity over chaos. Every decision, every relationship, every goal is filtered through a higher calling, and that calling gives your life weight, meaning, and power. The wrong questions will waste your time. They'll trap you in loops of indecision and mediocrity. But the right questions, purpose-driven ones, will elevate your mindset and pull you into destiny. Instead of asking, what's in it for me? You'll ask, who am I called to serve today? Instead of asking, how can I avoid failure? You'll ask, what lesson is waiting for me if I face this head on? See, purpose doesn't care about your comfort. Purpose cares about your contribution. And when your questions serve your purpose, your life starts to produce fruit. This kind of intentional questioning isn't just mental, it's spiritual. Because when you ask with purpose, you tap into something deeper than intellect. You activate vision. You trigger insight. You uncover wisdom that's been buried under fear, fatigue, and familiarity. And once you start living from that space, you don't just change what you do. That's when your actions become powerful. That's when your words carry weight. That's when your plans gain traction. Because you're no longer moving randomly, you're moving with revelation. You're no longer asking, how do I look like success? You're asking, how do I become the person I was created to be? Purpose-driven questions don't just change your schedule, they change your soul. They don't just organize your day, they reorder your destiny. And once you start asking them consistently, you'll realize something. You were never stuck. You were just asking the wrong questions. Answering with action is where transformation actually begins. Questions open the door, but action is what walks you through it. You can ask powerful, life-shifting questions every morning. You can write them down, speak them out loud, meditate on them. But if you don't act on the answers, all you've done is gather inspiration without execution. And inspiration without execution is just entertainment for the mind. There are too many people who know what to do, but still don't do it. Not because they're lazy, not because they're incapable, but because they've mistaken clarity for completion. Just because you know the answer doesn't mean the work is done. You still have to move. You still have to build. You still have to take what was revealed in reflection and turn it into action with discipline. Your answers mean nothing if they stay in your notebook. They don't change your life until they show up in your calendar, your habits, your tone of voice, your conversations, your choices under pressure. That's when you know the question didn't just enter your head, it entered your heart. And anything that reaches your heart has the power to rewire your life. There's a trap in thinking that insight alone will change you, that the right mindset will carry you to the next level. But success doesn't respond to what you know, it responds to what you do. Knowing you need to forgive doesn't set you free. Actually, forgiving does. Knowing you should launch that idea won't build your business. Actually, launching it will. Wisdom is proven in action, not in conversation. People who build lasting success don't wait for the perfect moment to act on what they've learned. They act while they're uncertain, while they're afraid, while it's messy, because they understand that obedience precedes outcome. Faith without works is dead, and questions without action are just delayed decisions. There will always be resistance. That's how you know the answer is right. Resistance is a sign that what you're about to do matters. So act anyway, move anyway, speak anyway. Start before you're ready and stay after it gets hard. That's where the reward lives, on the other side of obedience. If you've been asking the right questions, but your life hasn't changed yet, it's not because the questions are wrong, it's because the answers are waiting on your action. The transformation you want is already inside the truth you received. It's just waiting for your feet to match your faith. So don't just answer with your lips, answer with your life. Let your next step speak louder than your last excuse. Let your execution shout louder than your hesitation, because in the end, it's not the question that changes everything, it's what you do about it. Repeat until rewired is more than a mantra, it's a mindset. Change doesn't happen just because you had one powerful moment or asked one deep question. Change happens through repetition, through consistency, through doing the internal work over and over again until what was once unfamiliar becomes automatic, until what used to feel like effort becomes your new normal. Most people give up too soon. They ask a powerful question once, feel a burst of clarity, maybe even take one bold step, and then life hits. Distractions come, doubt creeps in, old habits start whispering again, and because the feeling is gone, they assume the transformation is over. But real change doesn't come from a moment of inspiration. It comes from daily repetition, even when you don't feel it. Rewiring your mind is like building a new road in your brain. The first time you speak truth to yourself, it's like cutting a path through thick jungle. It's uncomfortable, it's unclear. But if you keep walking that same path every day, asking the right questions, speaking life, making purpose-driven decisions, you start to create a highway, and eventually that new way of thinking becomes the default route. That's when you've been rewired. But you only get there if you keep repeating This is where discipline separates winners from wishers. Winners understand that transformation is not an event, it's a process. They don't rely on hype, they rely on habits. They don't just ask the right questions on the first of the month or the start of the year. They ask them every morning, over and over, until their spirit gets it, until their mind accepts